Hi, and welcome everyone. We're delighted to have you with our second session in Majlis today. I am Amrita Sethi, and I'm gonna be your MC for today. Before starting our session, let's begin with a brief about Al-Majlis. Al-Majlis is inspired by our Arab culture settings. It provides a sociable place that provides a warm living room chat. Here, we allow our speakers to share their personal journey instead of their professional sides. We encourage you to ask questions, share your personal experience with them to allow a deepening connection with the speaker. Today, in our second session, titled as What School Didn't Teach Me, where speakers will delve into a very interesting term called edutainment, which combine education and entertainment in short format. Now, please join me in welcoming our special guest today, our moderator, Tom Goodwin, welcome, Mr. A AlBahrani, Ms. Amrita Sethi, Mr. Valentin Schmite. Thank you and enjoy our session.
Hello everyone, welcome. We're essentially going to talk about the future of education, which if you think about it is really to talk about the future and our lives and the way that we do things and how we build relationships. So it's great to see so many people here to talk about it. I think the kind of premise of this is a little flawed. It's sort of based on the idea that formal education isn't working, that people don't have attention spans, and that they don't learn in that way. I think that still does work, but we can do something that's so much greater than that. So we're all going to share our own perspectives and angles on how education can be much better, how we can use the internet, social media, communities, technology, Web3, everything to make education as flourishing and as wonderful as it could be. So I don't want a long introduction from everyone, but I think if everyone could introduce themselves, their kind of role, and most importantly, to get back to the wonderful question, what they didn't learn from school that they wish they had.
Yeah.
So over to you, Ali.
Thank you, Tom, and hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أخوكم علي البحراني. I'm community relations lead, science communicator. I love to talk about science in informal way, just the things that some didn't like in school, like when they say, "Oh, math is hard" or "science is hard." I like to talk about these topics now and then. I'm working in this realm, informal education, edutainment, and we'll speak about some nuance of that throughout our conversation. Going back to the question, what school didn't teach me? Didn't teach me how to cook, I think. I learned omelette from my mom, so I'm sorry. So the thing is, I didn't get how to utilize other tools and means to gain information and knowledge. It's only the formal academic way that we learned at school. Besides that, there is certain ways and methods and tools to learn about something or to know about something, and we can maybe touch upon that. Thank you.
Amrita.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Amrita Sethi. I'm the first NFT artist in Dubai, UAE, but I'm a physical and a digital artist, which makes me a phygital artist. And yes, that is now a word, phygital. So what school didn't teach me? So I grew up in Kenya. I'm British, but I'm married to a Swiss and I live in Dubai, and I'm of Indian origin. So already I'm very international by nature, and obviously I love the Middle East, and my first time to Riyadh in Saudi today. And school didn't teach me two things. The first thing school didn't teach me is that you can have multiple careers. So actually I started off my career as a banker. You know, good Indian girl, go become a banker or a lawyer or a doctor, and you stay that for the rest of your life. And about 5 years ago, I decided to leave the banking world. I had the moment to be able to go inward, find my voice, and I came out an artist. And so just knowing to have the courage to be able to have, and I think the children today know that you can have now multiple careers. And the second thing that school didn't teach me is about all the new technologies that I am currently beautifully engaging with, and I'm using them as my tool brush in my artistic endeavors, which I'm excited to tell you about as the panel goes on.
Thank you. Valentin.
Thank you, Tom. So my name is Valentin Schmite. I'm French, as you can see probably. I'm the co-founder of a startup called Ask Mona. Ask Mona is the first company that created artificial intelligence solutions for museums and cultural institutions way back in 2016. And this company is working now with more than 200 different museums, such as the Louvre, the Colosseum in Roma, or different big international museums. And the point of this company is to create meaningful dialogue and conversation between the audience and the work of art through AI. So Ask Mona is for Ask Mona Lisa, and we created solutions for you to have conversation with work of art. I have a background that is not at all technical. I didn't learn anything about artificial intelligence in school, and I think I should have learned that in school. But I learned how to ask meaningful questions. I have a degree in literature and philosophy, and so I learned how to ask meaningful questions. And this way to ask questions, I think, was the foundation for the whole company and my other endeavors. I recently published a book that is a book, it's a dialogue between me and ChatGPT, and we had a meaningful dialogue during like 500 hours, and the book is actually just our conversation around philosophy, nature, and the future of AI. And so we created this dialogue, and I think school didn't teach me AI, but it teaches me how to ask good questions.
I love that point about asking good questions, actually. Like so much about education in some parts of the world is about answers, and it's about knowing things. It's not about exploring. And it's not even about things like building relationships either. Ali, how are you kind of using technology to improve the way that you can educate in the roles that you do?
I think the recent improvement of AI, augmented reality or virtual reality, it's recently developed because 10 years earlier we didn't have that technology fairly mature. So back then, when I was a little kid, it's all about what you learn from your peers. Not much of a technology. However, the technological advancement, even in the region now in Saudi, most of the populations are youth. We have the 36% are between the age of 15 to 35. 97 of them using smartphone, and 95 of them using social media, 65 of them using social media for entertainment. So I think the first technology that I used back in 2013, I think 10 years before, is using social media actually. And there is that trend in social media using YouTube and YouTube programs. So I started my own YouTube channel. It's called Eureka Show. What Eureka? You found it. And a sequence of that, a podcast also. So I used the available technologies back then.
What made you want to do that?
It's using the technology to go beyond your reach.
Okay.
Because you can influence whoever around you, like at school, your family, your friends, in the neighborhood. However, going beyond, you use technology. And in this day and age, the world is not even a village, it's just one neighborhood or one house. So you can use video games or the current technology to go there. So after that period of using the social media, now we started to utilize some of the technologies that emerged recently, like Valentin. It's the AI and augmented reality, and I think you have a good experience with augmented reality. I'll keep it for him first.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Amrita, you're like a walking piece of technology, I think. Do you want to kind of talk about your outfits a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we talked about a bit edutainment. I like to use art, and I call it art edutainment. And I like to use technology in my art as a way to educate people about the latest technologies, but make it so fun and entertaining. And we talked about when you were a little kid. I like to bring magic back to adults. And I think that what technology is now doing for the creatives out there is it's unlocking a level of creativity that has just simply not been there before. And I'll give you an example. So I live in Dubai, and I painted one of the world's largest augmented reality murals. So this mural is 20 meters long by 15 meters high. That's really big. And you go to the mural and you go, oh, wow, that's a big mural. But on the mural, there's a QR code. And you scan the QR code. That opens up in your phone on Instagram, so something that's very familiar to you. You point it at the wall, and the whole thing comes out. And so this is the latest in terms of augmented reality. So people understand this new technology. Then that augmented reality mural is an NFT. And then people are able to purchase that NFT, which then gets them part of my membership community, which then makes them a new learner, and you're experiencing it just by doing it, rather than getting so bogged down in the, what is a blockchain, what is an NFT, which is more just like a digital collectible. But also using other technologies as a tool brush, like virtual reality. So I'm very spiritual, and I believe very much in meditation and personal growth. And so I've gone in and I created in VR, in the metaverse, where you can go and meditate to a floating crystal while sitting on a floating yoga mat. Because guess what? There's no gravity in the metaverse. And so for me, I believe artists are very much storytellers of their time. And what I'm trying to do with my art is I want to include new characters, create a new narrative, and create new images, because that's what we've done over the years, is that new images have come through different generations of artists that then frame how we see the world. And to Tom, just to kind of pick up what you guys were saying, is that, everything becomes a canvas. So art is a canvas, a wall is a canvas, but even our fashion items are a canvas. So later on, when you come and find me, you're going to be able to scan this QR code. That will open up into Instagram, and I'm just going to stand up. And then you'll be able to scan it on my abaya, and then the whole thing will turn into a livable, working art piece. I don't know if somebody wants to try, but okay, why not? Do you mind a bit of improv? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So you just scan that. You've got Instagram, so you scan it normally. Yes. No, you scan it normally in your camera. Yeah.
Like a magic show.
Okay. Perfect. And that's going to open up into, perfect. Just give me 2 minutes. And then we're just going to unmute it. Then point this at my back. And then, is anything happening? It does. What's it doing?
There is an arc going out.
Yes, so it's
moving.
popping out at you. And then if you hold this thing down, you're doing a story directly onto Instagram.
Wow.
Can you see it?
Wow.
Amrita, will you be around later on if people
Yes,
want to? Okay.
absolutely. So
I think as
I'm a
live tech
walking
goes, though,
wearable
that worked
piece
very
of
well.
art. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Thank you for the improv. Thank you.
Does it work on thobes also?
Yes, we can definitely make
I'll put one
it.
here, okay.
We can do one nice also with the headscarf.
With the-
Amrita, to build on that, though, I mean, is it such that the next generation and the current generation are so curious, they're finding all these technologies, they're playing with them, they're learning, or does something need to be done to sort of inspire them to distribute the technology to make that happen?
I think it's doing things like this,
Yeah.
right? Like I mean, how many of you in this room have ever heard of what has just happened? Has anybody seen it? So like now, that's exactly it. Like it's using something fun, relatable, that we all can connect with. And what I say is that you've created a new digital dimension that's able to open a world of storytelling. And so if you're a brand in here, or if you're a youth looking to go and work in companies, you can imagine now any surface is able to tell a new story. So even this water bottle, if you can have it, so all of a sudden this becomes new digital real estate, because I believe very much that art and life is all about storytelling. So it opens up new channels. And I think that's what we need to see.
And Valentin, yeah.
Yeah.
In what way is your technology sort of helping people tell stories and live sort of richer lives?
Well, I find it fascinating what you just said, that everything can become a canvas, but I think that every canvas can become a conversation. And through just the idea of taking a picture of a work of art and then asking questions directly to the work of art, it's another way to discover things. And this is what we did at Ask Mona, and we are still doing it quite a lot. We are creating experiences for people to reimagine the traditional work of art. So there is digital art, and what you're doing is like the new form of art, but there is also a huge heritage of very interesting work of art and heritage sites here in Saudi Arabia. You have so many heritage sites that are fascinating. Well, can we create meaningful conversation around those sites through this technology? And what AI can do, and I think this is the technology that we are using at AskMona, is to apprehend a large database of information, scientific information, complex information, and transform it into a conversation. And you can ask questions to the Mona Lisa, or you can ask questions to the Colosseum, or you can even ask questions to a dead painter as Van Gogh. We did that with Van Gogh, and then have a meaningful answer. And this was inspired by Harry Potter. I'm not sure, maybe you've read Harry Potter. In Harry Potter, there is this those paintings where you can talk to the painting and they can move and they can go freely all around the castle of Hogwarts. Well, we did that in real life with AI, and this is what we were aiming in 2016. It took us 6 years to develop the technology and the technological solutions, and now it's live in.
I don't want you to sort of share like trade secrets, but I'm quite intrigued to know how it actually works. I mean, is there like a lot of information about each painter, each painting sort of ingested into like a large language model? Like what's sort of behind it?
Okay. We created fine-tuned large language model around each specific work of art with information on the painter, the specific canvas, dialogues with specialists, and we created this whole database, and then we fed this database to an AI that we designed specifically for this use case, and then you can ask any questions to it.
And is it the idea that you go to the Louvre and you sort of take your phone and you have a conversation next to the paintings? Or?
Yeah, it's working directly on your phone, so you can. It's a web-based solution, so there is a QR code. You scan the QR code, and then there is a system where you can take a picture of any work of art, and then you can, and there is a chat dialogue where you can ask your questions and have answers.
And at the moment, this is being applied to the sort of arts and culture spaces. And I guess it could work with music. But surely that thinking could go into other directions, couldn't it? You could have a chat with a sort of famous historical figure or a scientist.
We actually did that with historical figures too. We did that with Van Gogh, that is this famous Dutch painter. We created an object that is a small magnet that you can buy in a museum shop, you know, and at the back of the magnet, there is a QR code. You scan the QR code and you can have a meaningful conversation with Van Gogh. And we did that with Van Gogh, but also with big French historical figures, and now we are trying to expand it more worldwide. So we have plenty of ideas, and we can talk with Shakespeare, Byron, or even...
Are there kind of fears, though, that in theory you could just stay at home and do all this from home, and actually the joy of these things is to experience them? like in a
This
way, yeah.
This is why we are selling it into the museum shop, where people are going to the museums just to get it. And my idea is that museums are places that are just incredible. I learned so much in museum, and more in museum than in schools, actually. And in those museums, it's sometimes difficult for a younger audience to go directly to the museum. So you need to find tricks and new solutions to bring the younger audience to the museums. And this is what we are trying to do with our solutions too.
Ali, is this a sort of challenge that you face, how to make sure that you get visitors to come and then to be engaged and to stay and to learn?
It is a challenge, especially in, there is some of a cliche that a museum is boring. It's got only artifacts and painting, but it's not interactive enough. But this is slowly changing with all the efforts and technology implementation. I would like to touch upon one point mentioned here, is the use of multidisciplinary to communicate a message. We have this idea in school, it's a monotone way of saying anything. You have a master and you have pupils, the students, and knowledge transfer from this mind to this mind, and that's it. However, what you are doing is interactive, and you are using fashion, technology, knowledge, interactivity, all mashed together. And even Valentin using the technology, art, history. So this multidisciplinary mesh is one of the key ways that the new generation is captivated, because we might have this discussion about what's so-called short attention span nowadays with the social media or certain applications that give us like quick, very fast, short meals of information, be it educational or entertainment or news, but we get addicted to these short stories. However, if we put them all together, that gives a unique experience. So one of the things is to have a unique setup, like it's a unique experience or a unique mesh of other technologies. And these all fell under STEAM or STREAM now when they added the R. STEAM is the science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. Now they are adding R, like reading or robotics. So if we can have any experiences, be it educational or any message to be communicated, using mesh is one of the key factors. So going back to the museums, yes, if they are built in the traditional way, they'd be boring with low visitors. Now the full direction, at least I can speak locally for Saudi Arabia, and especially in Riyadh, to go into that realm of uncharted territory where we can use different mesh and disciplines to create something unique for learners. And with that, we claim we might have more visitors than usual.
Well, what other sort of challenges do you face at the moment?
At the moment is the taboo of science is hard, is boring.
Yeah.
So this is one of the prejudgment of any communication. And it starts from even with the communication team. If we have something educational, once you label it educational, there is prejudgment upon it. So we might now change it to a wider titles just to catch their attention. Then we'll give them science. So, so it's there. Then there is science.
Sneak it in.
Yeah, one of it's is theater. So we used to do theater mainly for kids and lower ages. So it is a fictional story like Harry Potter or something. Not necessarily Harry Potter, but it's a fictional story where you have your hero main character maybe created a time machine, and instead of going to the future, he went to the past. And they captivate him because he wear jeans and T-shirts. What are these? So are you an alien? So they captivate him, bring him to their leaders, and their leaders want to sentence him to end his life, to put him in something. But there is a magician at that time doing science experiment, actually, but claim it's magic. So we'll have another character doing this experiment on the stage, and something wow and big, there is an explosion or something, and he said, to the power of magic, and I'm doing this, or I'm changing the color of this smoke, or I'm moving this paper without doing anything, and he's like, blow and the paper will move. So he's doing experiment, but he said it's magic.
Okay.
Where our main characters who's come from our time to the past, he said it's not magic, it's science, and he started debunking that. And there is a conflict and resolution to the story. In all that, we engage the audience. So the setup and some certain mesh of the stories are from different parts, not necessarily telling them directly what the science experiments are, however, let them engage into a theater.
Okay.
And this theater, one of the efforts now we are working in, to have it even digital, to have this digital realm where you can go and explore certain world of discovery, let's say. And from that journey, you learn science, or you learn the messages that we want to
It's
give.
interesting. It kind of feels like in the past, science was boring, and maths was hard. But increasingly, it seems like that's where the jobs are coming, and that's where the abundance is created. And even things like creativity seem to be well understood as being valuable. Amrita, how do you see the kind of role of education changing towards the future? And what kind of role can you play in that?
Yeah, great question. So for me, I believe there's two generations at the moment. There's anyone over 16 years old is in the current generation, or the way we know and understand the internet.
A lot of people.
And then, and then
It's everyone.
everything is 16 years from, I would say, from under 16 years old. And so the way I do it is I address education in two different ways, because you have to speak to these generations very differently. So, for example, I would say for anyone over 16, we still value that tangible feeling of something physical. Now I'm talking about as an art piece, for example. So people want to be able, they don't understand, so you guys must have heard of NFTs or digital collectibles. People are like, why would I just want to buy a JPEG or something as digital? Why? I want to be able to hang it on my wall. Okay, for those generation, you'll be able to buy the physical artwork or buy the physical T-shirt or a buyer, and then they'll have a digital experience and it'll have a digital connectivity for you to understand that and to make that transition. What I would say on this is that when people, though, in this generation say, well, I need something tangible, I just ask them to pull out their big pot of money that they're carrying around with them. And they're like, no, it's just on my phone. I said, well, so you've taken your most valuable asset, which is your actual money, and you are used to the fact that you don't have to carry physical notes, because the idea of value is in our head. And even the photos, for example, in your phone, those are the days where you used to print off photos. Now, if you lost your phone and you lost your photos that are all digital, you would all have a major panic attack, right? And because the value of what we hold is this mind shift happening. And a lot of people in this generation are still making that connection. They've done it with certain things, but not all things. And then the people who are under 16-year-olds, well, I mean, they're in there. They're in the metaverse. They're Robloxing away. For them, they get the equal amount of dopamine hit of buying a sword or a pair of sneakers that are completely digital. They do not even want the physical. And so you have to educate these people differently. And the way I've done it is that for anyone over 16, I actually have my own online learning academy, which I call the Byte Academy. And I've got a blockchain foundation course, for that's aimed at adults, for them to understand a lot about what is happening in today's world. And if you go to my website, you're able to go a bit into the metaverse. So and it's just on a normal website browser. You don't need any fancy things. So you start to kind of get a bit of a feel. Then for the younger generation, I actually learn from them. So I've actually created a youth advisory council from 6 to 16-year-olds. And I am of the age, I know I don't look it, and the gender that never gamed. And so I'm not great at gaming, and I'm not great at understanding, the mentality of now this younger generation. So they actually teach me what they think is relevant, and then I'm able to then provide art edutainment for them back.
Yeah. Just one thing about the intangible and tangible.
Yes.
You are absolutely right. My younger kid, he's 5 years old.
Yeah.
and he asked for something, and I said, I don't have money for that.
Yeah.
He said, go to the supermarket and buy money. He said, so go to the baqala and take money from there. Buy.
Yeah, 'cause that's
so they
a-
don't know the concept. Is that like the father will bring money anyway? So that's one of the things.
And exactly, this is when you were like, can I use your credit card? I mean, you look away for 2 seconds.
Yeah, and use 2 points in the gaming, like points and levels, rather than dollars.
And they
currencies.
understand they understand NFTs, right? Even though
Yes.
it's not maybe equal. You know, the more you collect all these points,
Collectible,
then that forms part of the community. Then they're able to trade their assets. They're doing all of this. And then the minute you go into the normal today's generation, they're just like, sorry, there's an NFT. You have to, you know, it's too much for people to compute. This is completely within their way of communication. But yeah, great.
Just as a sort of something for everyone to know, there will be an open Q&A at the end of this session, by the way. So in about 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to open up to everyone, and I'm hoping there's not an awkward, stunned silence. So if you're kind of holding in questions, you won't have to hold them in for that much longer. I mean, in a way, what we're really looking at is the sort of future, and we're looking at what people need to know and the values they need to have and the skills they need to have to live a great life. I'm going to look at you, Valentin, because you know, there is a theory that with artificial intelligence, you know, it can do all the thinking for us. We don't need to know anything. You know, if you want to know anything about a painting or a piece of literature, you can just sort of ask the chatbot rather than knowing things yourselves. And it might make us quite sort of intellectually lazy. What do you think about that? Am I wrong?
Well, this is a very, very old question. At this time, Plato say exactly the same with the advancements of books. You know,
yeah.
saying like, when you will you write books? If you write books, you will not have any memory and you will not remember anything. So, and then we wrote books, and then we invented the fact that we can print books, and it was easier to broadcast more knowledge. And I think every new technology is a way for us to gain more knowledge, not to be more lazy. And it will depend how you're using those technology. But AI is a fantastic technology as a creative tool. For artists, for instance, AI is a way for them to create. It will not replace artists. We will need artists, and we will need thinkers, and we will need educators in our society, but they can use those tools to expand their realms and expand their domain. So for instance, I know so many artists now that are using AI, training their own data set and creating new work of art with AI as painting tools, you know, would do the trick in the Renaissance. So I think it's exactly the same. Every new tool expanding our realm, expanding the way we are thinking about knowledge and education.
There is a sort of school that it's a bit different this time because, like, somehow it's our thinking. You know, like it's one thing to sort of remember, that's to sort of go into our brains and pull it out, but to kind of think, to come up with new ideas, to experiment, empathize. Like there is, you could say it's a little different this time.
I'm not sure it's
Yeah.
well. It's different. Like writing your book by the end or printing it is different. Like this is a revolution, yes, but. I think artificial intelligence is really it's not a good word to craft this concept, because artificial intelligence is not intelligent at all. It's just a way to compute and to calculate a large data set. And the creation or the generation that you can do with AI, it's just the result of what you are putting inside of it. Garbage in, garbage out. Amazing work of art in, amazing work of art out, but it would depend on what data set you are creating.
Yeah.
And humans are the ones who are creating this data set.
And are you sort of altering almost the prompts and the way that you're asking people to interact with Ask Mona to make sure it's more like a sort of personal trainer that sort of helps you and comes with you, rather than just sort of like a resource to give you information, I guess.
Yeah, and those resources exist online. People could go directly into the museum and go to Wikipedia and ask and look up online on Wikipedia information, but no one is doing that. So the question is not to do it like that, but to try to create a meaningful conversation where the assistant can guide you through those work of art, or where the work of art can talk to you directly. And this is the whole point of this innovation.
Yeah.
I just want to actually say something because it's so, I mean, I really love what you're saying. And actually, you know, my art style is actually based on sound. So what I do is I say a word, like Saudi Arabia, and then I say, what are the images? Because we are the original OG AI machines, right? So now I've said Saudi Arabia, what are the images that are popping up in everybody's mind? And so the art genre that I've created is called sound bites, which I copyrighted, which you say the word, and then I draw images to match the meaning of the word. And I go on the premise that instead of a picture's worth 1,000 words, a word is worth 1,000 pictures. And then and I created that 4 or 5 years ago. Fast forward to today in AI, and AI is just that, a word, and you put a prompt word into it, is worth thousands of images. And I actually have an AI collection that I've done because I write poetry, and then I create the poem, then creates multiple images with the same poem, because I wanted to reflect the human condition. So yeah, I mean, it looks...
And poetry, as we spoke about poetry is the world's oldest algorithm, you know.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult to write poetry, and it's working a lot like an algorithm is working. Like, you need to have verses, you have to have special construction inside a poem. And Shakespearean sonnet is really different than a poem from Dante, for instance, in Italy. But those constructions are made like our machine learning algorithms are made today. It's a sonnet is a very, very complex machine, and we invented that way before artificial intelligence. So I think we can find traces of way to generate new idea, new concept through our minds in the history. That is what we are doing now with AI, and AI is not that new, you know, considering this old history of generation of ideas.
I'm going to come back to you, Ali. You know, as you look towards the future, and the role of what you do changes slightly, you know, to help give people skills and give them unleash their imagination. Are you sort of changing how you approach what you do? Are you sort of building experiences in different ways? How's what you're doing changing for the future?
I think the basic is just instead of, again, giving them the knowledge directly, is teaching them how to generate or how to search for the knowledge itself. So be it in education, science, research, art, whatever, it's the means and tools. For example, as we are speaking about AI, people always take a defensive state. So they are fighting AI, even in school, it's banned, even don't do research with AI, don't do that with AI. We have a cheating scandal. Yeah. So, and instead, you can embrace that by giving them rules and giving them ways on how to tackle AI to take it to the next level. When a colleague of mine, he said, talking with ChatGPT for an amount extended time, he's now asking better question than before. So it is two ways learning. So you are learning from AI, and AI is learning from you. The human mind is a marvelous thing. So just we can label it to the under the 21st century skills, the skills of the 21st centuries, mainly critical thinking, analytical thinking, how to do proper research, how to use the tools, different means for different knowledge or different type of information. For example, if I ask here, who knows how submarines work? Maybe not that much. Okay, but if I ask you, who loves rain? We are in winter now, so who loves rain?
I don't like
Only 4 people? Rain,
We're
rain.
British.
من يحب
We
المطر.
don't like rain.
Okay. Most of Saudi, I will claim they love rain.
like rain.
You are timid now. Okay, so if I ask then, where rain come from? From where? From sky. Is it from an empty sky or from where? From sky? From the clouds. Exactly.
I'm feeling quite nervous.
Yeah, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah, memories of school right now.
So it's basic. Everyone is related to the weather.
Yes.
It's the ultimate icebreaker. How is the weather today?
Yeah.
It's the ultimate icebreaker. So the weather, to the rain, to the clouds, what clouds are made of, like water vapor, because they are light, they are up. When they get heavier, they will fall as rain because they are liquid. And this is how submarine works. How? Submarines, because they have air, they would be floating. When they suck water from the ocean to tanks inside the submarine, they will become heavier, like the cloud, and they will fall into the sea. And the much water they get in, the deeper they can go, and they can go with the propellers. They want to come back on the surface, they'll dump up water using pressurized air, and they would be heavier and going back. So this is one method, is just giving metaphors and things to the something relevant to the audience. If I'm talking to much younger audience, less than 16, I'll immediately start with the Roblox metaphor.
Yeah.
or Pokemon cards or something like that. So it depends the toolbox that you're having. If you would be able to give this to educators and give them this broader perspective rather than that say submarines are working because they are taking water from the. This is the two different things. Thank you.
I'm going to look towards the audience to see if people are bursting to ask questions.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to you. So it's quite difficult to see people, but wearing a white shirt. I think a microphone's going to come to you.
Okay.
And you can ask anyone anything that's helpful.
Yeah. So basically, my question is, I'm an animator. I work with art, and I have a question with university. Did university help you that much? And if it did, what can I use to my advantage to become like an aspiring artist like you?
That's a great question. Firstly, to answer your question directly, I studied economics at university, and then I did a master's in development economics.
Oh, wow.
And I became a banker for 15 years. And so, no, I'm going to answer yes, it did help me, because then when I transitioned to become an artist, and then I became the first NFT artist, it was my experience that got me, obviously, in the world of banking. And because I got into NFTs, I was able to understand blockchain. I was able to understand NFTs and more of these kind of tech terms that most artists struggle with, right? And so what I would say is university is going to teach you how to learn, how to think, and how to apply yourself. And what you learn today may not even be what you're going to learn tomorrow, but we are an accumulation of all of our experiences, all of our knowledge. As we've said today, we are the AI machines. So the way you learn is the learning of life. So you're going to learn what you're doing today, put that into your AI machine. You're going to see where life goes, put that into your AI machine. And one of the biggest tips I can give everyone is we control what goes into our AI machine. So even when you're scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, think about what is the information you're looking for, because all of that is going as part of is implanting into your subconscious. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is, where do you want to go? Because where your focus goes, your energy flows. So if you want to and I would say do this they talk about vision boarding. Think about, with your animation today, go and say the most crazy idea you want to be, the best animator, think so out of the box, and then trust me, have that, and life will find a way, because your AI machine will start looking to help you get there. And guess what? You might start as an animator, and you might call me in 20 years and say, Amrita, I'm in capital markets and I'm a trader. So we never know where it can lead you. I hope that was helpful.
Thank you.
I think it might be quite interesting to get your viewpoints on this as well. Ali, knowing everything you know, would you have gone through the same type of formal education that you did?
So I have background in engineering, mechanical engineer
Yeah.
actually, and even my master degree in energy, like the real energy, not energy of the woo.
I moo.
Yeah, okay. I'll keep the woo for you. I'm for the like heat and man. No chakra, no that for me. So I'm sorry. No luck map. No, I'm sorry. But that's the real. Okay. But my love or my passion toward theater, media, get me into that realm of communicating knowledge through different means that we saw. Even it goes to jokes, stand-up comedies, shows, be it written or elsewhere. So I would say the ultimate, even my friend I say, don't be defined in what you are studying, and you are a good example actually, because it depends on outside factors rather than your hand, because it depends on your grade on high schools. It depends on the capacity of the university you are applying in your region, and etc. And sometimes you have only one acceptance from one university, from one major. You cannot say, no, I'll follow my passion. So you can, what I want to say in a nutshell, and we'll give Valentin a shot, is you can continue your academic education, but you can work on your passion along the way. So I wish for you who asked the question that you go to an art institution. But hey, if you didn't, it's not the end of the world. You can continue your passion, and you be a greater artist. One of my friend, his name is Hussein Ismail, actually. He suffered for almost 10 years because it's a good suffering because his studying is in technical maintenance, but he's an artist. But he made it at the end, and now he's a renowned artist in the region. And that's the thing that I want to say.
Well, I have maybe two advices for the younger generation that want to find their way. The first one is to be curious. When I started my education and through I did a PhD, and my PhD thesis was around piracy, but I didn't want to talk about just maritime pirates, but I wanted to make a comparison between the pirates from the sea and the internet pirates. So I did my whole PhD around that. My director, the director of my thesis was really pissed off about my topic, because no one were talking about that. But the curiosity is something that can lead you to anything, because through this PhD, I discovered the cyber world and the digital world, and I learned more around AI and those kind of solutions, and then it led me to found this company. And the second advice is to take some risk. And when you're seeing an opportunity, give everything that you have to this specific opportunity, and take the risk of winning, take the risk of starting something new, take the risk of changing path. And I think this is it's something that changed my life. You know, I was in a corporate job, and I was a bit bored in this job, but it was a well-paid job, and I quit everything to start my company at some point. And this risk-taking attitude toward life, I think it's something that changed my life for the better, and I'm pretty sure it's a good advice for a lot of a younger audience.
Next question. I think yes.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum. My question is about value. Now, we as humans, we value handcrafted due to the Industrial Revolution. You know, everything is mass-produced, so now that everything is things are handcrafted, we assign more value to it because it's different. How would you see that in terms of art, and how generative art would affect that? Thank you.
Yep. Want to start? No, you go first.
For this question, I think that there is a realm of now new artists that are combining digital and physical art, and they are creating experiences that are combining both. I have so many examples. For instance, one of my very good friend in Paris called Orez Vétier, is creating through AI some magical leaves and tree that are impossible because AI made them. And then he went to a foundry with metals and he created those forms in real life, you know. And there is this movement of recreating images that are generated with AI, not by AI, but with AI, but with also your own data set and all of the things to create specific and physical art. And I think this is an interesting way to combine the two. And even in the digital space, and I think NFT is a very, very good representation of it, handcrafting objects are unique because they are unique. It's because they are just one object. NFT is a way also to unify or to give a unity to an object in the digital world. And I think can create a lot of value, and we saw it. This movement created a lot of value to so many artists as a way to create unique objects in the digital world.
And Amrita, we're going to end on you. That was the last question. So you've got to end with a very inspiring, life-changing insight.
Well, yeah, I wanted to answer in terms of the value. I don't know how, that's a lot of pressure, by the way, but in terms of the value, so I think the concept of value will also start to change. And again, in my form of art edutainment, come and find me later, because when you get my so I am the same. I'm a physical and a digital artist, and so when you buy the physical art, you get my NFT. So whether you call it NFT or digital collectible, it's up to you. Once you get my NFT, you then become part of my community. And once you're part of my community, depending on what NFT you have, whatever the case is, then you become tiered in a way. So like if you hold one of my NFTs, like once a month, I give an augmented reality T-shirt to someone, or I give, a signed artist proof. So you become part of a club. And I think this is where this kind of new generation of value is starting to come in, because you're buying a physical art, but it creates a digital identity which you're attached to. And for example, I've actually created an event digital collectible. So, when you go to a concert and you keep the little stub to say, I was there, proof of attendance. So that's now a thing. So you'll be able to come up to me, scan it, you'll be able to get a proof of attendance, piece of artwork from me. And, in years to come, you'll be like, I met Amrita at MISC Foundation, and maybe that might not have value today, but just like that concert ticket, Michael Jackson concert ticket has got a lot of value on eBay today, that might have a lot of value in the future. And this is what we're changing, is value, and the concept of value is what's really fundamental changing with technology and art.
Perfect.
Oh, that
very
was
nicely
great.
done. Thank you very much, everyone, for being part of this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Valentin. Thank you, Amrita, and thank you, Ali.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you so much.